Ayun, magandang ano ba diyan, tanghali diyan sa inyo 'no? Magandang tanghali, ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles, wala po ako sa Metro Manila ngayon. No, I'm out, I'm traveling. I'm with relatives here in Texas right now. The last time na nag-live po ako, nasa Incheon Airport ako sa Korea. So, okay, medyo magulo nga yung pangyayari. Sabi ni Ma'am Christina, ang ang ating pambansang pampakalma, lalo na at this point in time na napakagulo ng mga pangyayari. Alright, let's discuss the Delima case. Yes, nasa Texas po ako. Tuta na ng kano, ganyan talaga ang buhay. Di ba ang ginamit nilang dahilan na para sabihin pro-China ako ay dahil daw pumunta ako ng China. So ngayon, I hope this puts all matters to rest because I go to other countries. And as a matter of fact, nag-ano nga po ako, nag-aral po ako dito sa US, but I studied in the University of Minnesota. Di pa po ako tapos ng kurso ko. But I also took my senior year in high school sa New Mexico po. I was a Rotary exchange student. So para lang magkaliwanagan. Okay. So, hi kay Sir Francis. So, bati muna ha. Magandang tanghali kay Raymond Christopher Garcia, kay Jay Sawadi, Kuya Rhea, Francis Cayetano, Rolaida Arcilia, Bridget Rios, Ana Chan, Raul Salazar, Pialo Lani, Benjamin Billones, Mary Jo Avelino, Virgilio Villanueva, Cristina Española, Julio M. Cuenta, Yoli Salvador, Evelyn Espoltero, Stormy Savi, Palaboy namang yan, Joe Preng, Sara de Mesa, Premicias Perez, Joanne, Prof. X TV, Imelda Alejo, Raul Salazar, Kuya Rhea, can't believe the news about Delima. Sabi niya, Lourdes Peco, Ninita Arago, Rene Braga, Brainco, Hummingbird, Stormy Savi, Chris Carion, GQ Shariem, Daturon, Emil D.A. Magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Ay, andito si Fafi Mark, andito! Siyempre, na ano naman ako. Super touched. Naks, di ba? Oh, kamusta na ang mga mga ibang mga fellow list makers? Yan si Mark Anthony Lopez. Kay Mang Inasar Delby, Gavina Somi, magandang tanghali. Marian Ortiz, at saka Chester Kayanan. Ay, si Ian nandito. Diyan ba daw ako magka-Thanksgiving? Well, yes, but I'm going to Boston first. So, yes. Okay, magulo talaga sabi ni Ethan. Alright, let's discuss originally there were 3 cases of Laila de Lima and 2 of them have since been dismissed. Merong nag-attempt na magpa-fake news kanina dun sa ating wall dito sa Facebook at sinabi, panahon pa ni Duterte nung na-dismiss yung ibang mga kaso. That's not true. The first case was dismissed. Talagang a lot of people agreed na medyo manipis yung ebidensya and therefore, kapag manipis ang ebidensya, di ba, you have to prove kasi guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Alright, so in a criminal case, pag kulang ang ebidensya, there's no verdict of innocence, but there is a verdict of not guilty, okay, due to the insufficiency of evidence. Alright, and also because there is what we call double jeopardy kapag ikaw na-arraign na at nalagay na sa peligro, kumbaga kaya jeopardy, ang iyong kalayaan, hindi na po maaaring iulit kung the exception being, so normally bawal ang appeals, bawal ang motions for recon kasi it puts you in jeopardy again. Bawal din i-refile yung kaso even if there is new evidence. Ngayon, pwede yung new evidence kapag kunwari nahatulan ng guilty tapos gusto niyong ipa-exonerate. Ngayon, if so, yun po yung quantum of evidence. So when we're talking about there has to be proof of guilt beyond reasonable doubt, ang tawag po dyan ay quantum of evidence. So, let's go into bail. Ngayon, bail is a matter of right, sabi ng ating saligang batas. When it is a matter of right, ibig sabihin lahat ng tao kapag nakasuhan ay may entitlement sa bail. of course, ang recommendation din ng prosecutor usually ang nananaig pagdating sa amounts. However, sabi ng ating saligang batas, kapag capital punishment yung kaso, usually walang right to bail. The exception is if evidence of guilt is not strong. So kung malakas ang ebidensya at capital punishment, walang bail. So in the case of former Senator Delima, na-deny po ang bail niya at the first instance. In other words, pagdating sa trial court, syempre may recommendation, no bail recommended dahil nga under the Dangerous Drugs Act, yung kanyang participation sa pagbebenta ng droga ay kino-consider na capital punishment kasi reclusion perpetua po yun or life imprisonment. Kung di ako nagkakamali, life eh. And that's considered capital punishment. So, kung hindi malakas ang ebidensya, saka lang siya ma-entitled to bail. Pero ang first ruling ng Regional Trial Court in her case was that no bail ang entitled sa kanya kasi evidence of guilt is strong. So ano ang nagbago? Nagbago ba ang ebidensya? Hindi. Nagbago ba yung charge? Hindi din. Ang sinasabi dito ay may recantations. Allegedly, may dalawa na nagsumite ng kanilang recanted testimony at meron pa daw iba na parating. So, in the face of this recanted evidence, nag-file uli ng petition for bail ang panig ni Senator Delima. At kinonsider ng hukuman na dahil may recanted yung main testimony against her, evidence of guilt is no longer strong and therefore entitled siya to bail. Alright, we'll talk about politics later on, but let's just first talk about the legal aspect of this case. Okay. So, tama ba ang decision ng judge? Well, hindi pa natin alam kasi as far as we know, nagpresenta na po ng ebidensya ang prosecution. Ang hindi pa tapos, kaya hindi pa tapos yung kaso, ay ang defense. At ang pinipresenta nilang defense ngayon, the defense in main, for Laila Delima is that there is no evidence given that all the witnesses or most of the witnesses or the main witnesses have recanted or winidraw nila yung kanilang testigo na nagpapatunay na si Miss Delima ay involved sa kaso ng droga. So, yun po yung basehan. Ngayon, bakit natin sinasabi na posible na ma-acquit siya? Dahil ang pag-determine ng bigat ng ebidensya in a bail hearing and pag-determine ng bigat ng ebidensya in the case in main or the case for the drugs case ay pareho lang. So, nung umpisa ng kaso, nung nag-file siya ng petition for bail, reverse trial yon. Kailangan magpresenta ng ebidensya si Senator Delima that evidence of guilt is not strong. Okay? Ngayon, presenta yung ebidensya na yun at sinabi ng hukuman. And then on the other hand, the prosecution also presented its evidence or most of its evidence available at that time. At sabi ng hukuman, the evidence of guilt is strong. Kasama doon yung mga testimonya na ngayon ay nirecant na. Ngayon, nagpresenta naman ng additional evidence, kung di po ako nagkakamali, ang prosecution. And lalo-lalo dun sa second case, ganun po yung nangyari. So right now, may pagkakataon pa na ang prosecution ay magpresenta ng rebuttal evidence doon sa ebidensya ng defense kung ito ay papayagan ng hukuman. So ganito nangyari yan. Na-arraign si Senator Delima, immediately nag-file sila ng petition for bail para makalabas siya. Dahil nag-file sila ng petition for bail, ang issue dyan is whether or not evidence of guilt is strong. So supposedly, nagpresenta sila and then nagpresenta ang prosecution. The evidence that was presented at the bail hearing, inadopt na ng hukuman. Pero nagdagdag po ang ating mga prosecutors. Ngayon, in the course of this, nagbago ang judge. Okay? Yung unang judge, yung nag-determine na evidence of guilt is strong, kaya dininay ang bail ni Senator Delima. And therefore, ngayon, bago na yung judge, pina-inhibit nila yung judge na yun. Very recently, after na-acquit si Senator De Lima in the second case. Itong judge dito sa third case, yung bagong judge sa third case, siya din yung judge na doon sa first case where she was also acquitted. Nakita niyo yung pattern? Okay. So the same judge who had already previously acquitted her is now the judge in the current case. And he, based on his evaluation of the remaining evidence and the recanted testimonies, ang determination niya ay evidence of guilt is not strong. Okay? And so she was entitled to bail, nag-file na po siya at siya po ay nakalaya. Okay, now, the next that we will be discussing are political implications. Ngayon, for lawyers and for those who are participate in the judicial and legal processes, for us, the only thing that exists is the legal case. For lawyers, judges, prosecutors, clerks, stenographers, police officers and all that, pagka meron kaming hinahabla o mayroong kaming hinahandle na kaso, the only thing that exists is whether or not the evidence will point to guilt. Okay? Natawa ko kanina, may nakita kasi akong isang, may nagsabi sa akin na may sinabi daw ang isang vlogger na, doesn't necessarily mean innocence. There was a context. Ngayon, gusto ko lang paalala na wala pong tinatawag na hatol na innocent. Ang hatol ay either guilty or not guilty. But a not guilty plea does not necessarily mean that the person is innocent. It only means that the prosecution had not undertaken its burden of proof beyond reasonable doubt. Okay. Okay. So, ngayon, there is also how do you call this? Of course, meron talaga yung mga nagdi-dismiss ang case kasi clearly yung tao ay inosente, pero hindi po nalalagay at hindi po ganun yung hatol. Hindi sinasabi ng hukuman you are innocent. No, the court says you are not guilty. Okay. So, now, outside of this universe of the judicial system, there is a government that plays a bigger game. It's called politics. So, it is not unheard of para sa ibang mga kaso na may mga supposedly some verdicts are based on political considerations. Yung universe na ito, itong world na ito, meron diyang European Union, meron diyang international relations where there are certain considerations that the government must take into consideration and so on. Ang dinidiscuss ngayon ay kung may political implications or there was a political play behind this. Ayon sa ibang mga sources namin, mayroon talagang pressure on the current government. Di natin sinasabi that they actually gave into this. But matagal na po yung hinihiling ng ilang mga outside forces, outside influences, such as but not limited to foreign governments, na hiniling ang paglaya nitong taong ito, ni Senator De Lima. Whether or not this is true, ito pa rin ang pinag-uusapan. Kasi para nga sa amin na involved in the judicial system, involved in the system of the courts, or involved in the system of justice, these politics do not play any role in determining for us to prosecute, for us to defend, for us to present evidence, and so on. Politics plays no role in this one. politics is played by the bigger government, by the by nations. In this particular case, that might be entirely possible. I cannot say this with absolute certainty because I I participate in the legal system. So for us, when a verdict is given, it is always or ought to always be based on evidence. Ngayon, gayon pa man, real talk lang, may mga politika din dito that must take other things into consideration. So, is it just in some instances, talagang pwede nating sabihin that there are some cases that are imbued with such political interest that sometimes the verdict is dictated not by the considerations of evidence, but by the considerations of politics and the survival of some governments. Okay? Is that the case here? Well, you will have to decide that. Pero we will not be blind to what other people are talking about in this instance. So, if it was simply the evidence, marami ngang nagsasabi para hindi masyadong magalit ang mga tao na just because nakapag-bail doesn't mean acquit siya. Well, in this case, common sense dictates that if in the hearing the judge has already determined that proof of guilt is not beyond reasonable doubt and is in fact not strong, then how can he rule otherwise unless there is additional presentation of evidence? Alam nyo, I'm not a fan of people advertising on my wall, okay, without our permission. So that's ano, and I understand kung bakit may mga nagagalit dito because we want a system of justice that ano, sabi ni Kuya Rhea, you sound disappointed din po sa live niya na ito. Why would you make that kind of conclusion? Sabi niya, Ma'am Annie, akala ko ba no bail yung case niya? Well, ulitin ko, the Constitution says bail is a matter of right. Ibig sabihin, everybody is entitled to bail. You are not entitled to bail if you have two things. Your case is punishable by reclusion perpetua or death or higher or life imprisonment. And two, evidence of guilt is strong. So if it's strong and it's capital punishment, no bail. But because everybody's entitled to bail, if evidence of guilt is not strong, even if it is a capital punishment case, then you will be entitled to bail. Okay. Sabi ni Chiclet, tahimik si Prosecutor Cañete because he is not authorized to speak. Remember, Prosecutor Cañete handled the second case, not this third case. So sabi ni Onofre, could be the reason why the Delima thanked the admin right away. Well, I think that it's reasonable to conclude that there might be basis for her to do that. I am not sure. Right? Before this happened, sabi ni Arnie Curtis, PBBM offered to transfer Delima to a safer place. No, iba naman yun. Di ba may konteksto yun? Yun yung time na, if I'm not mistaken, this was after the senator was taken hostage temporarily. So, yun. So there was evidence naman of her fearing for her life. Whether or not those fears were founded or unfounded, that's we don't have any evidence to decide either way. Sabi ni Dan, nagpapasalamat na nga ang US Embassy. May kinalaman talaga ito. Sabi ni JP, what a coincidence na pinanigan ng SC yung family issues Tapos this time nakapag-bail si Delima, parang may correlations. I think hindi pa po kasi involved dito ang Supreme Court. This is just the regional trial court. So wala pa po yatang correlation dyan. Eto, si Dom Ramon nag insinuate na. Sabi niya, I guess you haven't read the pages of the judge's decision. So then, why are you guessing? So please don't insinuate that it's an. I didn't insinuate anything. If you will go back and read a transcript of everything that I said, then you can decide later on. But you're the one who's thinking that I have already made a decision in this issue or that I'm even disappointed. Sabi pa niya, you're a lawyer but you can afford to tarnish our judiciary, that you're part of protecting it. Don't BS a BSer, sir. And don't try to muddle the situation here. Do not even try to muddle the issues. The issue that we're talking about is the greater world that is outside of the judiciary and outside of the legal system. We discussed in full and with full objectivity what happened in the case of Laila de Lima in the case for her bail. And we also said fairly that the judge made the decision based on the recanted evidence. But we also said, and we cannot deny it, that there is a world outside of this. The judiciary was not even brought in, and we did not even insinuate that the judge had made any kind of a mistaken decision. So if you are imagining things and you want to make me responsible for your imaginings, I think that is largely and by far tarnishing you more than it tarnishes me, if at all. So, nag-tweet pa yung ambassador ng US at yung EU na tutukan daw nila ang kaso at paglabas ni Delima. Well, we cannot deny them that they will, one, say this, and two, actually do that. It's not beyond them, but of course, I understand why our citizenry would feel that there is interference. Diba? It is fine for foreign governments to say certain things, pero when they actually interfere, when saying so they create a pressure point, then of course it is normal for us to feel resentful because we have our own sovereignty, we are a sovereign nation, and we decide on these internal matters based on our own standards, our laws, and our rules. Maraming gastos sa mga attorney, sabi ni Bibi, nababawiin na naman sa kaba ng bayan, kawawang mga tao sa Pilipinas. Well, let's see. I don't think she has stated that she's running for office yet. Hi, KPI. Hi, if Delima, say, decides to travel overseas to eventually escape her case, can she do so? Well, I think the prosecution could still ask for a whole departure order as long as her case has not yet been terminated. At pwede pa siyang pigilan ng DOJ. If the court issues a whole departure order, hindi siya pwedeng umalis. Sabi ni Rika, we're all entitled to express our emotions basta wala tayong na-violate na karapatan ng kapwa. Kaya pwedeng mag-express kahit sino kung ayon o sang-ayon sa isang bagay. Okay. Sabi ni Antonio Luna, matanong po sa kababayan natin, ano po ba talaga ni PBBM dito? May separation of power po ba? May separation of power tayo dito, no? 'Di ba? Sure. Sana po napanood niyo yung press con ni Delima, may paiyak-iyak pa po si Senator Hontiveros. She said na FPRD ay nag-imbento lang ng mga ebidensya para makulong si Delima. Well, we should take what she says with a grain of salt. After all, she is a politician. Sabi ni Arnie Curtis, may separation of powers pero may influence. Sabi ni Grim Reaper, yan ba yung kapalit ng tulong ni Biden since Democrats and liberals are known allies? I have no evidence either way. Nag-exist pa sabi ni Shindy. Sabi ni Florian, not only PBBM not continuing what PRD started, but since PBBM became president, it seems like he's opposing what PRRD's beliefs or principles. Kakawalang gana yung pagsuporta. Nag-risen from the dead na po ba ang mga yellows to join the uni team? Well, let's put it this way. Let's place context in all of this. No, Laila Delima is not the heart and soul of the Liberal Party, but they were able to raise her case to the level of to make other people interested in whether or not she would go free. So yan po ang pinag-uusapan ng mga yan ngayon. Pwede pa mag-appeal kapag not guilty si Delima. Pwede ang petition for certiorari on the ground of grave abuse of discretion. But it's very rare that the court will grant it. Alam niyo kung saan ako natatawa is that no matter how objectively I discuss this, if somebody wants to take a side, let's say the side of Senator De Lima, hahanap at hahanap sila ng paraan to taint whatever it is we are saying here. Objective na tayo dito or as objective as possible. But you're right, for me, the issue of drugs is very, how do you call this? It's a touchy issue. I am for justice. I don't like the idea of people creating evidence or tampering with evidence and so on, tampering with witnesses. I do not agree that somebody has to absolutely go to jail if there is no evidence for that. But at the first instance, there was evidence. And the only thing that has changed is the recantation of witnesses. Now, the Supreme Court has already said that recanted testimony must be looked at with, how do you call this? With a keen eye, kumbaga, because it is rare. Some courts really will not accept recanted evidence because at one point the witness will have lied. So it's either he lied at the first instance or he lied at the second. And therefore, the court will take that into consideration. If you were willing to lie at the first instance, what makes us believe that that this time around the lie is the second part? Sabi ni Soliano, you are talaga objective at mga tao nakita naman namin bakit naman po ang isang Justice Secretary nakikipag-party duet sayawan sa isang convicted drug lord. Wala ba siyang ibang friends? Which is actually a good comment, a good question na a Justice Secretary partying in whether it is in detention or in the correctional facilities is certainly something that's very disturbing. Sabi ni Magandang Binibini, I think we have to be ready for the next move, whether positive or negative. Image ng Pinas ang greatly hit. Sana time comes, mga namimili, God first and bayan muna. Tsak pa'y maliman minimal. True. Sabi ni Roger Evans, bakit hindi kasuhan ng DOJ ang mga nag-recant? Well, some of them will say kasi that the reason for the recantation was that there was fear for their lives, fear for their liberty, and so on. So yun po ang gagamitin nilang basehan kung bakit hindi sila nagfa-file or magfa-file dahil sasabihin nila biktima din ang mga witnesses na ito. Now, whether we believe it or not is up to the individual's judgment. Personally, I go with the courts. I think it's a solid doctrine of the court to not give much weight to a recanted testimony. But that's me. Sabi ni Kuya Ray, I expect na makakapag-bail talaga si Delima kahit sinong presidente pa yung nanalo. But, di ko expect na sa term ni PBBM, di man lang nag-hold kahit 3 years sa term niya bago makapag-bail ng ganun-ganun. Iba na ang panahon ngayon. Sabi ni Domingo Ramos, dapat yung yun namang nagpumilit na makulong si Delima ay yun naman ang ikulong. Kasama sila Panelo at para patas ang laban. Wala naman palang kasalanan. Pinagtagal-tagal pa. Oh wait, akala ko ba yung panig ni Laila Delima, sinasabi nila not necessarily na wala siyang kasalanan dito kasi grant of bail pa lang po ito. Hindi pa po ito yung huling hatol kung siya po ay may sala o wala. Gayunpaman, sa kahit anong kaso, bihirang-bihira po ang nagpo-prosper ng mga kaso for, ano ba tawag niya, unjust prosecution. So, pero meron talaga pong kaso na ganun. But what you have to show is that these people did not, they knew that the evidence was false or that the evidence did not exist or that there was no evidence at all and that they were prosecuted, the victim was prosecuted anyway. So, yan po ang ano, you cannot presume that simply because if later on she's acquitted, you cannot presume guilt for unjust prosecution or I'm sorry, malicious prosecution. Malis kasi alam nilang mali pero ginawa pa rin nila. Malis because alam nila na wala or inexistent or false yung evidence. So since you must prove, yan ang burden of proof ninyo. Otherwise, saying that these people maliciously prosecuted her might be treading in or you might be vulnerable to a case for libel. JP, hindi ko babasahin yung comment mo, although natatawa ako. Sabi ni Ron, do not forget that during the reign of Delima, staying in Bilibid is more comfortable than staying in a 5-star hotel. Sabi ni Lars, tama ba ang isang Justice Secretary ay pumasok sa kupol ng drug lord na mag-isa? At dapat ba makiapid sa mga security aid mo kahit lusot siya sa drug cases niya, pangit pa rin ang imahin niya sa taong bayan? That's actually a good observation. Sabi ni Sir Francis, 5 years din inabot nung huling kaso, mahabang panahon para magbago ang isipan. Ang ganda ng name nito. Ilred says, I just hope this is not a precursor or unrelated to a possibility of ICC investigating the PH for the previous admin's alleged EJK. Right now, nothing surprises me anymore. Sabi ni Ma'am Annie, malabo na mag-guilty verdict yan. Naka-bail na parang sinabi na walang kaso. Yun nga yung sinasabi natin. For those na kunwari sinasalo pa at pinapalabas pa na unwarranted yung galit ng taong bayan, the judge already made a decision that evidence of guilt is not strong. So this requires the prosecution to present additional evidence. If no additional evidence is presented, then that determination of the judge will stand, which is why the possibility of an acquittal is big, it's real, and it looms in the horizon. Hindi ba pwede maging evidence yung pag-amin niya na may affair siya sa driver niya para ma-disbar siya? Yes po, that can be used as evidence in a disciplinary case. Bakit hanggang ngayon wala pa rin disbarment case? Kasi hindi nyo fina-file. Any person can file it, by the way. And yes, it should be filed. Ang nakakainis ay kahit di naman tayo bulag sa mga nangyayari sa paligid pero parang wala tayong magawa. at pakapala na lang talaga ng muka ng mga nagawa na kabulustugan sa pamahalaan. Naintindihan ko po ang galit nyo. Kasi nga sa sistema natin, the only way na mapapalitan natin ang liderato ng ng kumbaga mabilisan. The most efficient way is to vote for different leaders next time. That's how the system works. There are other means, pero they're not exactly the type that we can easily propose to the public. Diba? Sabi ni Ma'am Ana, ginagago na naman ng mga tao. Alam mo, I understand yung galit eh. There really were excesses in the administration previous to the last one. And yes, we were treated to a lot of images that made us feel really bad, made us angry, kumbaga, at the entitlement, at how some people felt that they could, you know, be undertake certain activities that while shocking to the public, they felt invincible at the time. Sabi ni KF Shish, perhaps this is also part of their testing the waters for them to know how they can go. Next is allowing ICC, the Dilawans Reds and their new allies are all aware PRD is still very popular. No question. Samantalang yung pag-issue ng whole departure order ni Delima kay GMA, hindi pwede yan dahil court lang ang pwede magbigay ng whole departure order, hindi DOJ o DOJ Secretary. That's true. That's true, actually. Ang pwede lang is, it's like a temporary stay. Kumbaga, titigil ka doon sa immigrations and they can hold you for questioning but not prevent you from leaving noon. Although meron ding orders noon kasi si Senator Delima din, Secretary Delima lang ang nag-issue ng order. So tama ka rin doon. Sabi ni Fernando, that was a very long sigh. Sabi ni Kai, sa chess, it's really a battle between black and white king. Pero you have to use other pieces para ma-move ang king o ma-checkmate. That's an excellent analogy. I like that. It's very interesting. Sabi ni CR, if Smartmatic qualifies in the next elections, panalo na ang nagbayad. Goodbye democracy. I think that if people are smart, it won't be Smartmatic, but it will be Smartmatic-like. Or Smartmatic-like, whichever. If people are smart. If some people are smart. If the people pushing the right buttons are smart, it's possible to do that, di ba? Sabi ni Ma'am Christina, paano po ba makakausad ang diskusyon para magkaroon ng charter change? Ang hirap po kasi umusad ng Pilipinas kung hindi po talaga mapapalitan o ma-improve man lang ang ating saligang batas. Opinion ko lang po ito. Naintindihan ko, marami po talagang kailangan ayusin sa ating saligang batas. Ang problema, the worse the administration is, the less we will be able to trust them with something like this. Kasi once nandyan na yan, sa tingin ninyo, yung gusto natin na changes, yung ilalagay nila, think about it. Sabi ni Antonio Luna, ang tanong is may evidence pa talaga na involved si Delima sa drugs? Puro ka speculation tsaka opinion eh. Okay, that's it for you. Ganito po kasi yon. Ang speculation, hindi po bawal pagdating sa pagdidiscuss sa public opinion. Hindi po ako abogado dito na naghumaharap sa hukuman. Ang sinasabi ko, binibigay ko yung lahat ng facts at binibigay ko yung sinabi ng judge. Wala pa nga akong opinion dito eh. At ang sinasabi natin, kung may speculation, ay dahil may basihan ito. So, this person not only does not make a fair comment, but insists on being aggressive and contrary. Kasi ang gusto niya dito ay mamersonal. See? Puro ka speculation tsaka opinion. So talagang he's trying to kill the messenger, kumbaga. Sabi ni Shitadorian, kahit anong pili natin ng mas qualified na kandidato, kung mas marami ang mga botante na hindi nag-iisip ng maigi, wala pa rin. Kaya nga obligasyon natin na ipalaganap ang election-related information. Ngayon, limitado tayo dito sa social media, lalong-lalo na dito sa ganitong sitwasyon kung saan tayo, dahil ayaw na ayaw nila ang political commentary. At alam na rin natin dahil humaharap po sila sa mga kaso sa ibang bansa, ay mayroon at least enough evidence for us to conclude na mayroong pinapanigan na ibang na particular political ideology. Sabi ni Joseph, may Venmo po kami. Wala po eh. PayPal, nandun po sa aming YouTube. Natuwa naman ako, nahiya ako. Tama yung sinabi ng isa, kahit hindi, sino pang presidente, magkakadesisyon talaga ang hukuman sa tagal ng kaso. May ganun talaga, may mga desisyon na hindi patok sa taong bayan. Good thing, one time lang ang term ng presidency sa Pinas. Kung hindi, PBBM will not win a re-election sa mga nangyayari ngayon. Sabi ni Reg Adams, pugna non finita est, the battle is not over. Case is still ongoing. Let's just hope justice will prevail. Ma'am, hope is not a strategy. So, kahit sabihin niyo pa, it's not over until it's over. The judge already issued a decision saying evidence of guilt is not strong, which is why we also said the prosecution now has the burden of adding to that evidence. So, yun ang next move. Magdagdag ng ebidensya yung prosecution. Sabi ni Ron, nakakatawa tong mga ugag sa social media. Ano tong live na to? Oral argument sa Supreme Court bound by the strict rules of evidence. Sabi ni Jay, hindi bagay name niya, so paano niya siya mag-comment? Sabi ni, ay, nabasa ko na si Florian. Sabi ni Vanessa, share this video para ma-educate po ang ating mga kapwang Pilipino kasi target ng mga trapo yung walang education. Totoo yan. Ilang percentage ba ng population para ma-call off ang election dahil hindi nag-vote ang mga Pilipinos? Kailangan po may failure of election. So, ang sinasabi lang ng dun sa rule or dun sa batas is widespread. So, kung kunwari may nag-threaten or may violence and so on that prevents people from going to the polls, that's one way ng failure of elections. I don't know if kung peacefully hindi talaga nagpunta sa botohan o sa polling centers ang mga tao, if it would still be considered a failure of elections. Kasi preventing you, widespread prevention, whether it's kunwari nawala ng kuryente and that prevented people from going to the polls, that's failure of elections then. Sabi ni Soliano, paano kasi grabe ang vote buying sa bansa at sa mga probinsya na mahihirap lalo na yung sa 4Ps, madali nila matakot kaya naboboto sila at may private army yung mga yan. I think we have to assess every time whether or not it makes that kind of a difference. Kasi while it makes a difference locally, does it make a difference nationally? Sabi ni Floren, just imagine the optics. Kung may high-ranking official ang US na nakikiparty kay Pablo Escobar, parang ganyan ang ginawa ni Laila with the convicted drug lords. Sabi ni Emmanuel Tan, how come yung mga judges who denied her request for bail before doesn't have an opinion on this? Because they're not allowed to express opinions outside of their own decisions in court. Sabi ni James, posible bang buweltahan si Duterte o i-push ang ICC para lalong madiin si Duterte? Hindi pa ba ginagawa yan? Excuse me. Ay, thank you kay Kuya Rhea. Nagpadala siya ng pang-kape para wala daw jet lag. Uy, maraming salamat. Sino pa yung isa? Thank you kay Arlie Mars para sa yung super sticker. Hindi kaya pakanayan ni na FL at Tambas gagalitin nila si Delima laban sa gagamitin. Dumadami na ang mga kakamping sa government ni BBM. Hindi ko pa po nakikita yung paraan na ganun. Sabi ni Loki, kung sa ibang bansa yung mga kalsada ang gumaganda overtime, dito sa Pinas, mansyon ng mga politiko gumaganda overtime. Nararamdaman ko yung bitterness. Nararamdaman ko yung disappointment. And naiintindihan ko siya. Sabi ni Stormy, yung mga senador po ba mahilig sa coup na nasa na, ngayon sila dapat magsalita. Iba po ang kuha. Huwag kalimutan, sabi ni J. Pro, ang steaks from Texas. Sabi ni Makomi, kinakabahan na ba si TP? I wouldn't know. At saka bakit naman siya kakabahan? Okay, so mukhang maraming mga katanungan tungkol sa ICC. So this is a question regarding politics. In other words, the policy of this administration on whether or not to pursue the case or to assist in the prosecution of former President Duterte. Okay, foray into politics this time. What's the big picture? Duterte was a game changer. Okay, whether you like him or not, he changed the rules of the game. And people were aware of both his strengths and his weaknesses. But he had the full force of public opinion behind him. Of course, there are people who opposed him, diba? No question about that. But at the same time, kasi nakita niya yung mga tinarget niya talaga yung areas that seriously needed development. So one, he addressed the lag dun sa ating sa ating infrastructure. So he had build and all that. He super addressed poverty. Alam mo, sinasabi naman niya na believe siya sa ginawa ng China, and China was able to eradicate absolute poverty. Within the period that they gave themselves, it was something like 10 to 20 years, and they were on time. So, nakita din niya yung big picture, bakit mahirap ang mga tao. So, the targets were education, number one. So, nakita natin na pinagtuunan ng pansin ang free tertiary education, in-ensure na yung mga public school systems maumpisahan yung reforms, which is why si Secretary Briones, she wasn't very popular because she was so, kumbaga hindi niya na-articulate yung mga ginagawa niya, but she was able to start setting standards. So, what did she do? Sinali niya yung mga public schools natin dun sa assessment worldwide ng mga public schools all over the world para makita kung saan ang kahinaan natin. And as it turns out, ang laki ng kahinaan. So, once you have the problem, a clear idea of what the problem is, then you can start solving it. So, nag-umpisa yon, and to her great credit, VP Inday listened to former Secretary Leonor Briones and has been targeting certain problematic areas in the DepEd. Sayang lang hindi masyado po itong maabot sa publiko. But that is what has been getting her attention for a long time. So, education, ano pa yung next? 'Di ba? Yung absolute poverty. So, kinontinue yung 4Ps. The purpose of the 4Ps, binago yan. Hindi na yan basta hina-handout mo dun sa mga pamilyang nangangailangan. Although there's no question na kailangan natin tulungan sila. May caveat yung 4Ps, dinagdagan ng obligasyon, and the obligation is to keep the children in school. The nursing mothers, pregnant women, lactating mothers, and so on, they had to submit themselves to regular checkups, eat healthy food, etc. para may entitlement sila doon sa binabayad, so kumbaga sa ayuda and so on. So ang purpose nito is to make sure that the children stay in school. Ano pa ang inaayos yung sa transportation and so on. Ano pa ba yung iba? The point was that we saw that healthcare, so inaayos nila, it was a bitter pill yung PhilHealth, pero that was what ang failing niyan dun sa design niyan is Congress. Pero ang dito is pagtuunan ng pansin ang healthcare. So, kailangan may ganito, kailangan punuin yan, kailangan may universal healthcare. Doon sa universal healthcare law, naka-embody doon yung mga paraan, paano natin maprotektahan ng mga tao from the wipe out that a single disease of a single family member can do to a family. Halimbawa, kung middle class ka, and one of your relatives suddenly is hit by cancer, a dangerous kind, it could wipe out your finances. Kids can stop going to school and so on, and it can set an entire family back. Kung kaya't pinagtuunan din ng pansin ng healthcare. Napansin din dun sa healthcare yung mga nakita natin na makahinaan na ito. And of course, malungkot tayo kasi hindi talaga natapos ito. Pero nakita natin na isa ito sa haligi ng ating Pangulo noon na i-address ang poverty. Now, he addressed criminality, of course, also. Pag small town mayor ka, well, it's a big town, Davao City, alam mo how greatly crime impacts on society, how greatly it affects the citizenry. Yung nawawalan ng investments, nawawalan ng hanap buhay ang mga tao. It's a vicious cycle. More crime, less work. More crime, more people get sick. More people, etc., etc. So poverty creates a universe of problems on its own. Pero dahil naramdaman natin na ina-address to kahit hindi ganun 100% perfect, then the standard has been set. Dati, kung ano lang gawin ng gobyerno para sa atin, we were supposed to be happy. Alam niyo yun, yung parang nararamdaman na, o sige, para kayo sa inyong mga hampas lupa, ganitong klaseng edukasyon, you should be happy with that. Yun yung naramdaman ko. Yung mga type of governments that would tell you, bakit buhay ka pa naman, di ba? Yung mga ganon, dapat masaya ka na. Namatayan din ako, dapat masaya din kayo. Parang ganon. When previous governments show you this kind of apathy, a Duterte is a game changer. And a game changer is dangerous to the status quo. Tandaan niyo yan. A game changer, somebody, a maverick, like Duterte, who was getting the attention of common people because they were feeling the change. We were feeling the change. Na-upset na, tumaas yung standard. Hindi na pwede ngayon yung mga pwede na binibigay sa atin ng mga politiko. The standard suddenly got raised. And so they cannot allow that person to remain. They cannot allow the standard to remain because paano na yung mga susunod na politika? Paano na yung mga tao who just want na huthutan tayo ng huthutan ng pera, magpakasasa sila sa poder ng ganyan without actually giving us any real service? Paano na yon? So Duterte, because the standard has been raised, they have to strike him down. They have to to kill the hope in us that there are people who can actually do that. Yun yung point ko. So they will all conspire to take that person out. Pansinin nyo, even in government, if one person is performing and is performing beyond the capability of the other cabinet secretaries, sa tingin nyo, magiging well-loved yon doon among the cabinet secretaries? Of course not. 'Di ba? Especially when you're vying for the attention of the president. So, they cannot allow that standard to remain in the minds of the people. They cannot allow a person, kasi whether or not, I don't, whatever your opinion is of him, whether you believe he had massive success or not, it's not the point. The point is the people love him. Kahit sabihin niyo pa na hindi kaya yan magaling, kaya marami, kaya popular yan dahil ang daming trolls. Regardless, the point was that he changed the game. The point was that he raised the standards. And now here comes Inday, embodying all of that, what came before. So what are they going to do? They have to strike it down. Otherwise, kailangan na nilang magtrabaho. Kailangan na nilang magbigay ng tunay na serbisyo. Kailangan na nila ganon kalaki, kalawak yung vision. Kailangan sumusunod sa vision. Kailangan nilalatigo yung mga tao na not even Duterte was able to do this with absolute perfection, but we felt the real change happening at the time. So, and alam nyo, yung yanig na yan, hindi lang sa Pilipinas naramdaman. Lumunta din ako sa ibang bansa noon. Everywhere I went. So, your president is Duterte. Could we borrow him for a while? O just let us know kung ayaw niyo na si Duterte. Amin na lang. Ginaganon talaga ako in different languages, in different countries. So, OFWs, pag nagkita kami abroad, sasabihin nila, I am so proud to say Pilipino ko kasi may Duterte tayo. So, so yun yung natin. So, if other politicians don't want to put in the work, anong gagawin nila? They'll just bring down the person who has higher standards. Di ba ganun yun eh? Pull him down. Maging alimango na lang. Sige, ayoko kasi tinatamad ako na baka isipin na kailangan natin magtrabaho ng ganyang katindi. Baka mag-expect ng tunay na serbisyo ang taong bayan. Ay, hindi pwede. O sige, hatakin natin yung pababa. Sisiraan nila yan. I know that because, it happens. I've seen it happen. Sabi ni Yosa, what can we do to stop them? Stay true. They're going to throw things. They're going to make bad stories come out. They're going to say na, ganito yan. Actually, berdugo yan. Etc. They're going to try to make him look like, remember what Trillanes tried to do? They tried to make him look like siya yung head, siya yung main drug lord ng Pilipinas. Stay true. This was the one person who changed things for us. Wag natin papabayaan na tarnish nila yan. And they're going to do their best to tarnish that image because otherwise they will have to work. They will have to work for our love. That's what ito sabi ni Supra, that's what they did to Inday. That's what they're doing to Inday because she's coming in, embodying all this positive energy that we have, we have invested in her father, and she gets it free from all of us simply because she exists. So how can you beat that? You beat her down by denying her resources, to be able to show that she's doing the work. Deny her the ability to work very well. Deny her the ability to be able to keep holding up the Duterte standard. Deny her the love of the people by destroying her reputation. That's what they're going to do. So, what is the first step? Awareness. Know what they're doing and hold against it. Stay true. Sabi ni Irish Uy, we have to protect Inday. That's true. But it's not really Inday we're protecting. Inday is a symbol. We're protecting us. We deserve better. We had been told we deserve better. We had seen what is better. I mean, it wasn't even perfect, but it was so much better. And now what they want to do to us is hold us back to a lower standard kasi hindi naman tayo elite. Hampas lupa lang tayo. Babalik na yung standard na pwede na. Sila lang naman pwede na. Remember how bad the MRT, LRT was? Pwede na yun. Kasi tayo lang naman yun Hindi naman sila sumasakay ng public transportation, di ba? We deserve better. And somebody already showed up and taught us how to, how much better things could be run. Remember, ito hindi ko makalimutan. And kinuwento ito several times ni Presidente Duterte sa amin. The first few days after he had won elections, umikot siya sa Metro Manila sa kanyang motor. I asked him if the story is true. Sabi niya, oo. So, you know what? You know what he did? Nakita niya yung pila sa harap ng DFA. Naalala niyo yun? Yung mga tao pumipila para makakuha ng passport, makakuha ng appointment. Walang sistema. He walked in and he told the officials, di ba kayo naawa? Di ba kayo naawa, mga kababayan ninyo, natutulog o lumalabas ng 4:00 ng umaga, hihiga dyan sa sidewalk para lang makakuha ng passport? Hindi ba trabaho ninyo to improve the system? Do you remember this story? It's true. It's true. So, hold true. They will try to destroy our memories. They'll try to destroy our expectations of a higher standard. They will try to make it look like these are awful, awful, awful people that we are so wrong for putting them on a pedestal. But the one thing remains, no matter what they say about them, after all, they are people. They are people, di ba? Na may mga kahinaan. So hahanapin nila yung kahinaan na yun, blow it out of proportion and say, these are awful people. Why are you giving them the gold standard? Why are you giving them your approval? Di ba? Smoke and mirrors din. Alam niyo kung saan ang labanan ngayon? Sa communications. Yeah. They'll try very hard to make themselves look, uy, we're the new Messiah. Or we're the guy, we're the man. We know better. And yun yung mga yun, pinagkatiwalaan nyo, tignan nyo, disappoint lang kayo. Hold true. We deserve better. Sabi ni Chit, naranasan daw niya yung madaling araw, nasa DFA na silang magkapatid daw, sobrang haba ng pila. Hold true. No matter how they try to destroy the people who gave us a better life, the people who held us up, who listened to us. Doon ako nabubwisit They listened to us. Alam mo, para sa akin, the mere fact na naisip ni Presidente Duterte at nasasabi niya, hindi ba kayo naawa sa taong bayan? Finally, somebody listened. Hold true. We deserve better. We deserve more than what's been given to us and we do not want to. Nakatikim na tayo nakita na natin na this person cared that we were always becoming victims. Biktima tayo ng politikong mandurugas, biktima tayo ng mga kriminal sa kalye, biktima tayo ng mga drug lord, directly or indirectly, biktima tayo ng kababaan ng standard ng mga taong tingin sa atin hampas lupa lang at kailangan lang nila sa atin boto. stay the course, hold through. Gusto nila, hold the line sila, well, hold through. Don't forget. Don't forget how we felt and we're not feeling it anymore. Yan sabi ni Joseph, oh, as a seafarer, 3 a.m. sa US Embassy na may nakapila, appointment ko is 7 to 8 a.m. Oh, well, sabi ni Esther, we deserve a better president who cares for the people. That's why FPRD's governance is missed. Yun, hindi, wag natin din kalimutan yung simpleng bagay na tanimbala. Yung tigas ng mukha ng mga government officials who said na, pati ba naman yan, problema namin? Gusto niyo bang bumalik sa ganun? Gusto niyo bang bumalik sa sa sistema na ganun na sasabihan ka na buhay ka pa naman o kaya pati ba naman yan problema namin. Sabi ni Malet. Grabe naman sarcasm mo, Malet. Sabi niya, maniwala ka kay Delima. Biruin mo, may pa-concert sa Bilibid noon. Malakas ng ebidensya noon. Sabi ni Maurice, correct ka. Gusto nila boto natin. Nakalimutan nila ang mga nagawa ni Tatay Digong. Sabi ni Jophil, ayaw ng admin ngayon ng comparison, pero yung ang nagawa nila ay taliwas sa mga inaasahan sa, nawala ko yun, sa kanila. Tapos wala silang, wag sila ibabash. Lahat ngayon fake news. Sabi ni Joseph, PRRD made my community safe. Before Duterte, my wife and I were already planning to buy guns for our protection. Drugs are just around the corner. Then Duterte came. In the 10 years, I felt safe for my family. Sabi ni Lila, pinupush ni BBM yung one world government na gusto ng mga hindi ko naman po yata nakita yon. Di sapat ang massive good information campaign kung walang mag-spark. I think you don't need a massive information campaign when it's the people who are spreading the news for you. That's what I mean by that. That's what real cooperation and unity is. If the people believe in your cause, they'll be with you. Sino pa ang kailangan? Hindi mo na kailangan ng magaling na communications person. Kung yung taong bayan na mismong nagpapakalat ng good news tungkol sa'yo. Sabi ni Pialo, di nagbago style ng dilawan until now gustong gawin tanga mga tao at sila ang tama. So, it may not be much, It may not be much. Pero wag nating kakalimutan that we deserve better. So, we don't deserve na yung responses sa atin ay PR. Kunwari, mataas ang presyo ng bigas, ang igagamot nila public relations, press release. Kunwari, ramdam natin, kulang ang trabaho, kulang ang nabibili na ng ating sahod. Huwag tayong papayag na puro salita lang yung bibigay sa atin. Takot din naman sila, to be fair. Kasi nakikita mo how much money is spent on communications, telling us that it's not true. Tapos sabihin natin, diba, ang sakit-sakit na sa angal-angala, ang sakit-sakit na yung parang kulang na lang magbilang ka ng butil ng bigas kasi napakamahal, parang ginto. Sasabihan ka na, nag-work yung price cap. sasabihan ka na, "Oh, kita niyo, bumaba na ang presyo ng ano, ng bigas. The economic fundamentals are there. Our government is working. Nangyari na." Hindi napapakain ng taong bayan ng mga PR niya. Doon ako naiinis eh. Nalulungkot ako because dapat tama yung mga polisiya nung una eh. Tama talaga yung vision. Tama talaga yung ano. May naliligaw. Kung sana sinunod na lang yun, hindi tayo magkaganito. Ang ayoko yun nga, sabi ni Mullet, puro sa ano, tama ba yun? Ay, sabi ni Yosa, puro salita, walang gawa. Hindi, meron man. Hindi ko matuloy kasi pag sinabi ko, magagalit talaga yung kabila eh. So, sabi ni Emmanuel Tan, soon enough, they will grant ABS-CBN a franchise. Of course, they needed the network for 2028 elections. Sure win na sila. Last year, do you still trust Aimee? You know, Aimee says a lot of right things. sabi, sabi niya dun sa ano, sa karambola ng guest namin siya. Di na ako makapagsalita tungkol sa bigas kasi hindi ko na maintindihan ang nangyayari. Bakit ganito? She says the right things. Kumbaga, para sa akin. Trust, I don't know. What kind of trust do you mean? Trust her enough to vote for her again? Yeah, I'd vote for Aimee again for senator, sure. And that's what she's running for, di ba? Sa 2025 yata, the electionist siya. So yeah, I'd vote for her again. But you have to be specific. Trust her to do what? Ito. I want to show you the classic example of how they're trying to destroy it. Look at this. This is why I say hold to. Ayaw ko si Mau Diggs at si Sara Mau, mga pro-China. See, there's no argument here. Walang ebidensya na pinapakita. Panira lang to. Pro-China kasi. Pro-China. Shortcut yan eh pag sinabi pro-China. Hi, pro-China. And suddenly kailangan mayanig tayo. Paninira yan ha. Walang ebidensya, walang argumento, walang muka. Maninira yan. So what they're going to do sa mga ganitong klaseng paninira, uulitin lang nila ng uulitin. Kasi nanonood sa ano sa paniniwala natin. Ignore these things. Hold true. Sabi ni Carolina, Manila Bay was impossible daw but he made it possible. Likewise, Boracay. Isa pa yun. Diba? We deserve better. Sabi ni Soliano Sabach, nagawa natin noong 2016, magagawa uli natin kahit walang pera, the power of volunteerism. Alam mo, totoo yun, walang pera si Digong nung tumakbo siya. Aspirations lang ng taong bayan. Sabi ni Vida Jackson, let us take a deep breath. That is us. So, no matter what, remember this. We deserve better. We deserve solutions to the problems. We deserve clean streets. We deserve less crime. We deserve cheaper rice. We deserve a better society, more responsive politicians. Hindi yung ang sinusukli sa atin puro press release. So we should end on that. Hold true. Remember that we deserve better. Napakita na sa atin, naramdaman na sa natin noon eh. At hindi natin sinasabing perfect yon. Of course, hindi niya isang tao nga lang siya, mismong ibang mga gabinete niya, kalaban niya. Di ba? At some point, he couldn't even change his because of all the pressures from so many people. And yet, it didn't stop him from trying. Given a few more months, nasagot sana yung problema sa tubig, hindi inabutan niya. Because iba doon, sarili niyang tao ang pumatid sa kanya. But he still tried. Like I said, naramdaman pa rin natin, we deserve better and they gave us better. We have to demand more from our leaders, demand more from our politicians. Hindi yung mga puro Senate investigation na wala namang pupuntahan. Ay, sabi ni Colocos, loko to. We don't have cheaper rice. Cheapest politicians meron. Grabe kayo. Okay? So if our government is reverting to the old ways, we have to make our voices heard. Keep demanding. They'll try to silence us. Of course, they'll try to silence us. Of course, tita nyo, yung mga ganitong live ko, dati, ang normal ko, 6,000, 7,000 ang nanonood sa live. Hindi, throttled po kami. Tapos pagtatawanan pa ako ng mga kalaban natin, sasabihin, wala ka ng following. BS and a half. Yeah. We deserve more. And we will keep deserving more. Always. So, okay? So, on that note, uh, remember that we always forget this, but power is in the people. They have created a system which renders us incapable of moving until elections. But power is still with us. In sufficient numbers, we can defeat even Smartmatic. Okay? So, yun. Remember that if we forget, at the very least, remember that the standard was already set. Okay? Hindi po ako punta ng California. So, maraming salamat uli sa pagsubaybay sa amin at maraming salamat po na nararamdaman nyo yung nararamdaman ko na, di ba? Tandaan niya na simple lang yung ano na we deserve better. Better than what we're getting. So, to be fair, no, it is not an indictment of this administration, just an indictment of how few there were of the type of governance that we have before, how rare it was. So, hold true. Remember that we deserve more. We deserve better. Ang yaman-yaman ng Pilipinas. Dapat first world na tayo noon pa. Kaso, parang ano tama walang cheap price, cheap politicians lang. Maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay sa Luminous nitong araw na ito. Babalik po kami. We'll do this often kasi traveling ako so wala akong ibang walang karambola, wala akong pinag-aaralan na ibang programa. So, pero huwag niyo kakalimutan manonood pa rin kayo ng Karambola 8 to 10 ng umaga kasama niyo sina Boss John at Boss Conrad at saka Boss Joel. And we'll be back by the end of the month with Karambola. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much. Sa lahat ng nagpadala ng super chat, super sticker, thank you very much. Thank you for all the intelligent comments and questions and thank you very much na naniniwala tayo that we can still change things.